You were just listening to Half Jewish by George Watsky, and we have George Watsky from a pre-recorded telephone interview for Fresh Air, The Alternative, University of Edinburgh's student radio station. I am DJ Matt Werner, and we have George Watsky on the phone line. So yeah, we really enjoyed the humor that you had in Half Jewish, but your poetry, it's not all about just, humor and funny and the shtick, but you've also done a bit of sustainability work. I know on YouTube there's a video of you and Robert Redford. I was wondering if you could talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, well, I have a relationship with Robert Redford and the Sundance Preserve that I started cultivating through You Speaks, actually. I won this competition in 2006 that focused on poetry with the theme of sustainability or climate change work, some kind of that stuff like that. I had a poem called Carry the One that's also available on YouTube that won this competition, and I got to go out to Sundance, Utah, where Robert Redford used to host a summit every year for mayors working on climate change. And so I got to perform this piece, and it was really crazy. I was invited by Robert Redford, got to meet him. Madeleine Albright was there. The year before that, Al Gore gave the keynote, and there were a lot of really crazy people. Actually, I started a friendly relationship with Mark Begich, who is who's running against Ted Stevens for Senate in Alaska right now, and it looks like he's going to win. And by the time this airs, he probably will have won because Ted Stevens is facing all these corruption charges up in Alaska. But anyway, I got to meet all these really cool people, perform at Sundance, and they invited me back the next year. And through that, I got an opportunity to perform that poem in Chicago for Green Build, which is this big sustainable building conference. I got to perform immediately before Bill Clinton took the stage to give the keynote. And it's just crazy. This competition that I entered has given me opportunity after opportunity to perform my work about sustainability. And so from this one poem, I've gotten so many chances. I've generated some more material on it. And that thing you're talking about with Robert Redford was from an event at the Kennedy Center this summer in July, Speak Green, Green Mike on climate change. And Robert Redford introduced me and been a really great guy. And I'm an aspiring actor a bit as well, too. So to have someone like that saying those compliments about me is really flattering, and it's been really, really cool to do that work.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, you really have come a long way in the last 6 years from the kind of a dorky 16-year-old on the stage to a pretty well-seasoned poet. So next up, we're going to play a little song that you've put together with a group you've been collaborating with. I was wondering if you could talk a little bit about Where the Sidewalk Ends, and is it a Shel Silverstein reference?
It is a Shel Silverstein reference, definitely. I did this song with a group called Invisible Ink, which is a band that I'm in. They're actually all my roommates, and it's a jazz hip-hop fusion project, and I do some poetry on the thing as well. But the song is about moving and paralleling the breakup of my relationship when I moved with some of my own anxieties about mortality. It's called Where the Sidewalk Ends, and the other two members of the group, Invisible Ink, are Daniel Riera and Max Miller-Lauren. This is Where the Sidewalk Ends.
Watch out, that's where the sidewalk ends. Stop now, that's where the sidewalk ends. You think time stops dead where love begins. Not on my block, this is where the sidewalk ends. Watch out, that's where the sidewalk ends. Stop now, that's where the sidewalk ends. You think time stops dead where love begins. Not on my block, this is where the sidewalk ends.
Ashes to ashes and us to dust. Meadow mouth smile now cause that grin gon' rust. Sunshine cause tonight you gon' hide from dusk. The middle plays games but the end I trust. Just a little lesson that I learned from the gnat. Stay fly today, cause tonight's a wrap. From the get-go, all this promised is we gotta let go. Reaper's got an eye out for your life and he's a klepto. It's retro, fam. We learned the art in kindergarten, started building blocks so we could knock them all across the carpet. Part of me just wants to play the martyr and start whining. Problem is I'm just another arrow flying towards the target. It's autopilot operation, can't do shit to stop it. So relax and just get plastered, drinking 8 balls in the cockpit. 8-ball corner pocket. So you get to call the shots and chalk it up to poor decisions when your life is desolate but honest.
Watch out, that's where the sidewalk ends. Stop now, that's where the sidewalk ends. You think time stops dead where love begins. Not on my block, this is where the sidewalk ends. Watch out, that's where the sidewalk ends. Stop now, that's where the sidewalk ends. You think time stops dead where love begins. Not on my block, this is where the sidewalk ends.
The bygones are bygones and I'm gone and we're just friends. Life tightens like a python when I try to slither out fine from a fight and find this life is winding down when I slide around the bend. When I'm lost in Boston, I'll be wanting you. Every inch of skin, every molecule, every follicle, an article of clothes you own. But I can't pull you through the speaker on my mobile phone. Go it alone, I suppose, a new home here. I can't hold on to what I hoped that I could hold dear. No more please holds and holdouts for I'll roll near. I better snuggle up close to an ice cold beer. We're falling apart, we're breaking a little, we're leaving our hearts with a hole in the middle. It'll take a little while, but the riddle is just we can talk at killing time, but time is killing us.
Get up, stay up, have faith. Things are gonna work out okay. Maybe someday, maybe someway we will meet again. Get up, stay up, have faith. Things are gonna work out okay. And maybe someday, maybe someway we're gonna find a place of peace. The sidewalk ends where the sky begins. Time can hurt, but time can cleanse. See, the sidewalk ends where the sky begins.
Yo, the sky's the limit, don't cry at the edge. Come on.
The sidewalk ends where the sky begins. Time can hurt, but time can cleanse. See, the sidewalk ends where the sky begins.
The sky's the limit, don't cry at the edge.
The sidewalk ends where the sky begins. Time can hurt, but time can cleanse. See, the sidewalk ends where the sky begins.
We're gonna meet again, come on.
The sidewalk ends where the sky begins. Time can hurt, but time can cleanse. See, the sidewalk ends where the sky begins.
The sky's the limit, don't cry.
Hi, you're listening to the Hella Hyphy Hour here on Fresh Air The Alternative. You were just listening to Where the Sidewalk Ends by Invisible Ink. We have George Watsky on the phone line. And George, I was wondering, where do you see yourself going in the future? Do you see yourself continuing with the spoken word and the hip-hop? You had mentioned acting as another venue you're looking to explore. I'm curious, are you studying acting now?
Yeah, I'm studying acting and screenwriting and playwriting. Like, my major is an interdisciplinary major. I go to Emerson College in Boston. I'm finishing up right now. And I am hoping to keep doing poetry, absolutely. But I also really want to make a career out of art, and I feel like I give myself the best opportunity to do that by having a couple of other avenues to go down. There's very few people who can support themselves exclusively on poetry, although there are a few. And it sounds like you guys might actually meet a couple of them later if you keep listening to the Hella Hyphy Hour in subsequent weeks. But my hope is that by writing scripts, and the plan is to move to LA about a year from now, that I'll be able to give myself an opportunity to do acting. And I think that theater is a really fertile area for the crossover between spoken word and longer form. So I would love to be able to explore doing theatrical works that I can write myself, that can include my poetic voice, and also put myself in them and showcase my acting stuff. You know, one of the really enticing things for spoken word for me is that it lets you showcase your own experience in your own writing and also performance at the same time. You can't be an amazing spoken word artist unless you're an outstanding writer and performer.
Yes, definitely. Yeah, there's so much theatrical technique that goes into it. And I think that's one reason why Saul Williams is so remarkable, even though he did have a very brief spoken word career in the actual slam scene, but he's still regarded as excellent. Same others who put on dynamic shows. Now there's Mark Babuni Joseph, who everyone at Youth Speaks is indebted to. I know that he's influenced Dalek style quite a bit, and I mean everyone who's come out of Youth Speaks